Hey guys, it's Joey Chanel with Sippin Selling. Welcome to season 2. My first guest of season 2 is a good friend of mine, Jenna Oppe. Welcome, Jenna.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Starting off OND. For those of you that don't know what OND is, we love acronyms in this industry. OND stands for October, November, December, our busiest time of year. We'll get into that with Jenna a little bit more. She's the National Director for Emerging Brands with Breakthru Beverage. Jenna, I have so many questions. I have so much admiration for you. You're a great, industry vet. You're a female, which is, what we like to highlight here at Sippin Selling. And I have so many questions. I'm sure you have a lot that you'd like to get into, and a lot of things I'll probably ask you don't want to get into. So let's see what happens. I want to talk to you, like I said, about OND. I brought it up, but I also want to talk about Breakthru Beverage. On our show last season, I noticed that I would reference Breakthru, and we have a lot of listeners that aren't from the industry, and I would love to break it down about one of the national beverage alcohol distributors and how you got involved. Your title is not a small title, and I'm sure you didn't get it overnight. So let's get into it.
Sure, that's a lot of questions all at once, but I'm happy to answer
Rapid
them.
fire.
Love it.
Rapid.
So first and foremost, hello, good morning. Thanks
Good
for
morning.
having me. I'm very
You're
excited.
welcome.
Season 2, officially. I work for Breakthru Beverage. It is the third largest wine and spirit wholesaler in the country. And what a wholesaler is, for those who do not know, in alcohol, and I don't know if you've ever gone over this.
I haven't, so
forgive me.
please.
Distributor is the second tier of the 3-tier system for alcohol. Thank you, Prohibition. So the first tier is obviously the producers. They're the ones that create the brands. They make the liquid. We're the ones that purchase from them. So being that second tier, we're the regulators and the laws. We are the logistics usually of that, and then we set pricing for the markets. We sell to that third tier, which is your retailers, not the consumers, but the customers. So like you had mentioned, the chains, stores, hotels, restaurants, that's who we sell to. So again, we take that second tier and make sure everything is regulated, legal, pricing, logistics, the trucks, the warehousing, the sales teams, and then bring it to the customers. The consumers are the ones that purchase from the customers. So again, it's a 3-tier system in alcohol. So Breakthru Beverage is that second tier. We're the third largest in the country. We operate in 16 states, including Canada. We don't operate in every single state, which I feel is actually beneficial. We can kind of take brands and grow them locally, regionally, and then in some fashion nationally, whereas, some of the larger ones essentially can just put something everywhere and see kind of how it sticks. So we're more of a localized, regionalized approach to brand building, which is what I do. So a little bit more about me in general. So I, as the National Director of Emerging Brands, I work on our Emerging Brands team, which is known as Trident. So we essentially are the facilitators, guidance counselors, advisors for new and emerging brands and categories and commodities, trying to get themselves situated within the larger wholesaler network. So my team and I, this was kind of created back in 7 or 8 years ago when we merged with another wholesaler called Wirtz Beverage at the time. So Chalmers, Sunbelt Group, and Wirtz Beverage joined in 2016. And at that point, we were like, okay, how do we get new and emerging brands to fight the good fight along with the bigger brands? So this team was created to kind of help those independent brands find their way. And I lead that charge. I kind of start the process for the new brands. I do all the new considerations. I work with our teams, our trade teams, and developing a portfolio strategy for us to go to market with. We don't want to collect brands at the end of the day. We can probably get into that a little later, but we want to ensure that whatever we are partnering with or bringing in, we can add value to. And I lead that process of finding those brands that we feel can add value to us and us add value to them. And again, are exciting and unique and have all the bells and whistles to them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I believe you're the only female on the team.
I'm the only female on Trident, yes, but I am on a team of super supportive men. And we are close-knit, really, we all do pretty much the same thing. Like if one of us goes this way, this one can do this, and we cover each other really well. And, it's been a really exciting team to be on. I've been on the team now, it would be over 4 years. I can't believe it.
Amazing.
But I've been with Breakthru/Charmer. It'll be almost 17 coming up here.
Just like me. I've been in the industry 18 years legally.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Legally.
But you didn't actually start with this category. You were kind of in the realms because of what? You love hockey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So fresh out of college, if we're talking back then, I started working for the Florida Panthers. Right. That was my first ever real role per se. And I worked there for almost a year. That's where I met my husband. We're a big hockey family. And sure enough, so is Breakthru Beverage Group, which is a funny way to...
Worlds collide.
It is, yeah. So I mentioned the Wirtz family, and they are the presidents and owners of the Blackhawks. So we are also a very big hockey company. We're very competitive. We do a hockey tournament every year. Our CEO and our VVPs and everybody come together once a year.
Acronyms.
A lot of acronyms. Well, those are C-suite acronyms. But yes. So big hockey family. We live in, we're all Florida Panthers fans here because we live in Florida.
Go Cats, go.
Go Cats, go. We're going to have a tough time coming into this season.
Yikes. Last time we talked, we did go over all the winnings and, the glory and everything positive. And here we go.
We were supposed to have a three-peat. But
listen,
maybe.
Here's hoping.
I think there's still a strong team there.
I'm a glass half full girl.
Yep. Yeah, hockey's fun, and they play the Blackhawks in the opening game.
So who are we? So rooting
we will be
for?
there. Well, my husband will be rooting for the Blackhawks. I will be rooting for the Panthers. We're gonna bring the kids, so we're gonna keep it.
Awesome.
We're gonna keep it locale.
I love that.
But yes, I'm a Rangers fan at heart.
Okay.
So if they're playing the Rangers, I root for the Rangers. Anybody else, I root for the Panthers.
All right, good. Are you originally from New York, or why are you a Rangers
not.
fan?
No, my family's from New York. My parents are from New York. Their parents are from New York. Everybody is from New York. We're like vacation family. My parents came down to Florida on vacation and never left.
I love that.
Yes. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm a big New York sports fan.
Cool.
But my husband is from middle of Illinois, and he's a big Chicago fan.
Amazing.
So but
I love it.
It all ties together. Nathan didn't marry me for working for Breakthru because that didn't happen.
It's just a perk.
It did not happen. But he's very happy he gets to play hockey once a year at the United Center with all my coworkers. So
I love that. So you originally started with the Panthers, and then how did we get to Breakthru?
Kind of in that regard. At the time, I was friends with the mascot, and his wife was working at Breakthru Beverage at the time it was called. And she was, I think, an intern or an admin for temp.
Oh, nice.
And she had told me that there was an opening for another administrative position, and it was called the H&R Spirits Division at the time. And I was like, great. Human resources, got it. I was 20, it's 20-something year old, and it's alcohol. That sounds fun. And I went in and I interviewed, and sure enough, H&R doesn't stand for human resources. If anybody needs to, it's hotels and restaurants. But I think I got hired because I didn't know that. And I said the right thing when they asked me what my favorite drink was.
Which was?
And at the time, it rum and diet. I'm not going to name the brand.
Okay.
But yes, I started working there, and it's been a ride ever since. Yeah.
And then you wake up.
Fresh, Jenna.
How many years later, and here we are.
16 plus years, almost 17 years later. I mean, I've had nothing but great career guidance and advice and mentors along the way. And have got me to where I am today, and I hope to continue to grow within this organization. I think it's, super family oriented. They care about their people. I wouldn't still be here if that weren't the case. I think that there's a lot of positive coming out of what we're doing as well. So I agree with a lot of the ways that we're building and working. And again, my team is phenomenal.
Yes.
I couldn't say anything better about, Trident and what we're doing.
Who's a part of that? Is it still John and Drew?
No, John. John's one of the original founders of it, along with Drew Levinson. And John actually has taken a new role, so he's actually leading more of the larger suppliers on the supplier business development team.
Good for him.
Which is awesome, and we love him, but secretly hate him all at the same time. John Oliver. But no, so it's Drew who's our VP. He's our leader and basically tells us what to do and what not to do and make sure that we're following the rules. And then I have my counterpart out in Arizona named Micah, and he leads all of the supplier business development. So thinking about it as I start the process and bring in the brands with our trade teams. Mm-hmm. Micah then takes over the relationships as they get into more and more states of ours. So helps me with the expansion process. He speaks to them on a daily basis or daily basis as much as he needs to. He works with our business management teams to kind of correlate and facilitate the communication that needs to be brought for those smaller brands. Amazing. Again, just trying to find homes and happiness and ways of working. It's really about the ways of working within a larger distributor. And we, can't be everything to everybody, but we can at least try and facilitate what we feel is the most valuable to our teams so that the brands and the owners and the suppliers know how to speak to our teams and we're all speaking the same language and getting the same things done.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we were touching a little bit on how to get a brand into market. I wanted to just give you my ideas of how this works because I've done it a few times and I've done it alongside of you, a couple years ago with a few brands and most recently with my brands, Cast 420. We are sold here in Florida through Breakthru.
Yep. And
the process goes as follows. You have to go to breakthrubev.com, go to the portal, submit a new brand, and you gotta, sell it on paper, which is hard. I've talked about this before on my show where it's just like sometimes you can't, how easy is it to come across a portal submission with passion or desire to be a good partner, etc. So if you make it past that part, then it gets to you amongst a million other brands. And when you read the submission, if it's good enough to have a Zoom call now, because we don't even meet in person anymore, thank you, COVID.
Probably a good thing. It would take years to get things done, honestly.
For sure. And then they get to have a Zoom call with you and they have to present on the call and they have to pitch and they have to make it worth your while to want to try samples. Is that right? Or am I missing something?
You're pretty spot on. So yeah, I'll kind of start where you, so we have an online portal on breakthrubev.com. It starts with the supplier submission. All of the spirits, non-alcs, and RTDs do come through me. And yes, we get a lot of brand inquiries a year. So just to give some numbers, like last year, I think it was over 1,230 came across my desk.
Crazy.
In some fashion. And then, this year we're probably trending just a little under. There's still a lot of brands out there. So yeah, to get what you're trying to get across on paper, I understand is very difficult, but understanding that we also have to kind of weed out some of the noise. And the way that is submitted to us, you'd be shocked, eliminates a lot of the noise, because if you're not taking the time to fill out at least the proper information to get us to look further at it, then it's an easy thanks but no thanks.
Right.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of probably really good brands out there that we unfortunately just can't get past, or they're just not ready, and that's okay. But once that process or that submission is in the system, is when we take it from there. We review everything, usually as a team or myself kind of situates it, and then. Yes, the next step would be we reach out one way or another. We would either give feedback and say thank you, but unfortunately not at this time, and look some reasons why, or we reach out and ask additional questions and ask for samples. And I know we've talked about this before, jokingly, but it's really really important. Like the way people send samples can affect the way that we evaluate brands. Broken glass, the way things are packed, not packed. It's really. Taking the time and the initiative to make sure it's presented well. And there's just so many ways to ship things nowadays that it really, the excuses are limited, and especially the amount of samples that I receive. So, samples are great, but I think I've said this to you before, the product and the package have to be good nowadays. There's not any instance where that shouldn't already be 100% done before coming to a breakthrough. At the end of the day, we're not interested in like vials of samples at this point. If you're already a brand of ours and we're developing things, like great, but we're not here to kind of be the ground up approach. Do we give advice? Sure, I'm happy to help. But that's not really what we can solve for. So if you are not already packaged and you don't have like 100% samples that would actually be put on a shelf, we're probably not going to need them or ask for them. And a lot of it really on the form, I mean, if you don't have a website working, if you don't have an Instagram following, if you don't have social media presence, a lot of that is also an indicator of where you're at as a brand. And it's, like I said, it's probably a simple answer. One way or another that way. But after that, yeah, it's a meeting. It's a 30-minute meeting. If you come prepared or not to the meeting is really another indicator. I started to go down the P's like everybody has. Like
you
the marketing.
10 P's, right? Let's hear them.
I'm gonna get my notes because I remember, the simple P's are always, like I said, product, price, and package, and then I think in marketing, it's like product, price, package, promotion. Okay, that's great. That has to be in existence. Like you have to have a great product. It stands out. The packaging, same thing. The price has to be in the right spot. I mean, you got to know your competitive set and where you're at and where you're supposed to be. And then really for us, a lot of it's about the people.
Yeah.
And not just the people that we're meeting with, but the people that are surrounding you, the people supporting you, the people that you have working for you. I mean, a lot of it comes down to how you're going to interact at this point with that great product that you have created.
Right.
Nobody needs another jerk. And nobody needs somebody that's going to be tough.
No,
and we all have to understand that we are not the smartest people in the room. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm learning every day. But I've known enough and seen enough and have enough within this industry and how things have kind of shaped to at least give the advice. Take it or not, it's how you react to such things. It's the feedback. It's a lot of the ways of working. And if I don't feel that I could introduce you with someone on my trade team or my sales team, it's not a good indicator. So we say the people are so important these days. And it's a lot of, again, how you interact and your expectations.
As I said, my rum is sold at Breakthru in Florida. It's a hemp-infused spiced rum for those of you just tuning in and never heard me talk about Cast 420.
Have you?
That's all I talk about.
Have you?
My father, my sister, and myself own the brand. And, it's a new category, which we touched on. We can go into deeper.
Sure.
And it has hemp infusion. So that is something that is a little bit fickle in this industry because people think that hemp is CBD or THC or cannabis, and they think that it's going to have psychoactive effects, etc. So even if I did the portal, passed, had the meeting, passed, it doesn't stop there post samples. You had some questions about my label. You were curious about the color. I had to do other testing to prove that there is no THC, CBD, or sativa in the product with legal because it is a new category. And even though we had been selling in Texas, and that's a really tough market to break into, and we have been selling in other hard test markets like New York, it doesn't matter. Breakthru's a big conglomerate, and they need to dot their I's and cross their T's. And so sometimes there's other steps like that could have prolonged me getting into market and delayed and missed maybe a launch I wanted. But again, about the people, if I wasn't patient and a good partner, more P's, and decided
I'll add those to my list.
We're gonna keep
adding. Yeah.
Decided to follow, along and do what made everybody for sure protocol. Let's play this as a drinking game.
Wait, I don't even get
right?
started.
Well, we're just drinking coffee. It is 9:30 in the morning, but we are sipping something.
Finally.
So, then after that, it could delay the launch, which maybe I had things in mind, etc., whatever. But being a good partner, that's what you have to do. And then there are so many other steps after that where you can end up doing a great presentation, doing a great, launch or kickoff, but then there's the end all be all. The one thing that's not good of being a partner, which I fell into a little bit of an issue in the beginning, which is aged inventory. I want to talk about aged inventory, your favorite topic. And I'm saying it because I'm being transparent.
Yeah.
When my brand came into the market, we missed the window of when I had things planned out for it. Doesn't mean it couldn't have happened. But in our industry, there's highs and lows of what sells at what time. And even though I was a new category, sometimes that's great. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you being the first new item, it's like, ooh, shoot, the slow burn, And that's what I was having. And being a good partner, we were honest with our portfolio manager, like, hey, I don't know now that I'm missing this window for a chain presentation, if I'm going to get the numbers I want. So we pulled back on our purchase order count and we did a smaller amount as a good partner. So we didn't sit with aged inventory because I don't want to hear it. And Jenna's going to dive into that a little bit more about what that means as a supplier.
Yes. So as the distributor, I mentioned it a little earlier, we are the warehousing and logistics, but we are not sellers at the end of the day. So my line, and I don't know who said this in my career, but I'll own it because I can't remember.
You can.
So it's by Jenna Oppe.
TM.
Yeah. We are sellers with an S. We're not sellers with a C. So we are not here to store your product. We are here to take it in and move it out. Take it in and move it out. So one of the P's is pull through.
Oh, another
right?
one. Jenna is.
So yeah, it's one of my 10. So the pull through on a brand is really where we are more interested in bringing you in and finding that value, because profitability is another one, and that is when we are not sitting on aged inventory. So aged inventory, to give you an idea of that, is when we have too much product on the floor and it is not pulling through. We get into situations where we run into, we call it reserve funds, and we're essentially holding that spot for products that could be pulling, and it's eating into our profitability.
Right.
So as a brand or as a supplier, it's an uncomfortable conversation because we don't like to be given any sort of minimum order quantities or we like to say, we don't like to say it, our policy is we are a 30 to 45 day on the floor domestic products. So we should have minimum 30 to 45 days on the floor, no more.
Right.
If everybody's doing their job, this should be a constant in and out approach, and that should be your pull through. And if a brand or supplier is like, I need you to have more, it's okay. How are you going to move this out, and are you going to support us at the end of the day to do so? Because again, the clock starts ticking.
Right.
Really at 180 days. Nobody wants to get there. No. That's the point of like, okay, now we need to start putting some plans together. And like I said, there's instances for these reasons. It's different seasonal, items, whatnot. But just be ready and prepared to have those conversations if you're not pulling through and there's a slow lag in whatever it is, an innovation item. But we usually have those conversations prior to bringing in brands. And you'll find that, especially in like the newer ready to drinks, which is RTDs, like the cans, and there's different ways that pallets have to come in and out. We're very mindful of that, but we are also cautious of a lot of that, because if there's going to be damage, if there's going to be, again, reserves that have to be set aside, we are more one way or another may or may not partner if we're given sort of those stipulations on how we can control our own inventory.
It's a much better conversation to come to your distributor and be like, hey, I got the Panthers arena and they're going to carry my can exclusively for the next season, right? And it's a lot nicer to say that, have an email that proves it, and then say, listen, you've done this before. What do you think we should order? Instead of being like throwing cases down their throat and say, order, 4 containers or something.
Well, and I always, to your point, getting those partnerships are great, and they have at least a place to go for the product. But again, being mindful that like if that's the only partnership that you have, the pull through anywhere else might be minimal unless you're building out another strategy. So we don't want to bring in inventory just for one instance Because if that one instance ends or it abruptly, changes, then we can be stuck in certain instances with that inventory. So that's why we always like to have a plan and a purpose, which is all these P's that we're going into for the brands and the reasons why. And this is all comes down to considering a new partnership and how we evaluate. Like I said, those initial orders are great. But at the end of the day, and I get asked this a lot, and somebody's probably heard me say this, but they're like, how many cases do I need to be selling to get into Breakthru?
Right.
It's really not about the cases. Like I said, it's about the purpose and the presence and the reasons why, and that pull through how the brand is already doing and how we can kind of see that trajectory going.
Yeah.
If there's growth there and we feel we could take that in and amplify it, that's when we really get excited about partnering with somebody.
Right.
Because again, being one of the larger distributors in the network, we just have to be mindful. We're not collectors of brands. We're not a seller, like I mentioned, with a C.
Right.
We want to ensure that what we bring in is successful, and it's not just in year one or year two, because it's hard to not find that lightning in a bottle. But if the lightning in a bottle sparks out, then it wasn't really any good to anybody. We're in it for the long haul,
right?
As Breakthru,
not a flash in the pan.
We don't like flash in the pan. I mean, they're nice to have, but they're not something that we can see long-term viability on, and we're not going to put a whole lot of time and effort into something like that, really. So we want it. That's why when we do an evaluation, it sounds like a lot, but it's for all the good reasons. I mean, you mentioned, because if a brand's going to be in it, we want to be sure that we're also paying that mindfulness and the attention to those things.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so informative. So Jenna, there's some landscape changes recently in California. How is that affecting Breakthru Beverage out there?
Oh, it's affecting us for sure, and in a lot of interesting ways. So what Joey's referring to is the last 3 months or so, we have been expanding in California. There was a recent distributor landscape change, and in that time, let me start over. We as Breakthru have been planning to expand in California since we entered. Okay.
Didn't you guys originally purchase a different distributor out there? Okay.
Yeah. So we entered California back in 2023, and we acquired Wine Warehouse. So Wine Warehouse in California was the number 3 wine and spirit wholesaler in the state, and it was a very distant 3. So we came in as Breakthru, and we kept the team, and we did all of these great things, and we had a 5 or so year plan to really get after that number 2 spot. We really wanted to grow, and what we did is we internally built. New structures, new warehousing, new people. We added to that infrastructure and really started to expand.
Okay.
Well, again, this is a 5-year plan. Well, back in, call it, May or June, there was recent news. There was a shakeup. One of the larger distributors decided to exit the state completely. And it was one of the larger 3. So when they exited, we had decided as Breakthru, okay, we're going to put these plans into motion very quickly. And we very, very impressively, and we spread up the process.
Yeah.
So I was really, happy to say I was part of that project. And we facilitated basically opening a whole new distributor network. We doubled in size. We brought in over 50 new suppliers on the wine and spirit side.
Wow.
And we launched all of them effective September 1st.
Amazing.
And again, in 55 days to accomplish something like that is really exciting. The operations behind it are remarkable. That team, everybody on the project did such a phenomenal job. And I mean, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be kinks. I don't think anybody expected perfect from day one.
No.
But we are really excited about the future and what that holds. There was a lot of decisions made and ways of working that are probably going to evolve as we get into 26 and definitely into 27. But as of right now, we've been open. We opened a brand new warehouse effective September 2nd.
Wow.
And we're almost a month into this, and it's only getting better by the day.
That's amazing. Honestly, it was a shakeup. None of us knew what was going on, and it is what it is. You know, this business is ever evolving, ever changing, and that's something that we should touch on. From what I hear with brands coming to me, they're all like, "Well, Joey, isn't the business dead?" Listen, at the end of the day, this is nothing new. We've been down this road before. I mean, we touched on Prohibition. We weren't around for it, but we touched on it. My dad is 89, still in the industry. He's seen lulls, highs, lows, brands come, go. He talked about brands, you know, that was basically dead, that's still now to this day, 60 years later, on every back bar.
Right.
I mean, everybody has a story. It's either a comeback or not. And at the end of the day, yes, I feel like from my side, what I see, a lot of suppliers are not having as much success or as many sales as the previous years. However, my brands, the ones I sell, are doing just fine. I'm very happy to report that. And that's why I'm very picky and choosy. And I partner with Breakthru, and I partner with brands that I see longevity with, like Breakthru.
Yes.
One of them that just came over to Breakthru had to follow your strategy, you know, and they had talked to Breakthru before. And it doesn't mean that if you're not ready then, that you won't eventually be ready.
Good point.
And I think that's something that we should talk about, that you can come back if you follow, you know, the strategy or the suggestions that Jenna laid out and team laid out, because the brand I'm talking about is Lemonade. It's a pioneer in its category. It is, most people think it's just a spirits brand, but it's not. It's wine based, so it's an aperitif, but it can be mixed as if it is a modifier. It could be, you know, it could be sampled alone. It does have alcohol in it. And that's a product that is new in its category, in my opinion. It's new for me because I have to now find wine buyers. The spirits buyers are not the ones in charge of this, even though it acts like a spirit, or you like to say if it acts like a cocktail or something.
Acts like a cocktail.
There you go. Which it does. There's so much you can do with it. It's a fun product, and I'm wearing their merch today, which is cute.
Look at you.
Yeah. But, you know, that's something that we could talk about.
Yeah.
If you have some 2 cents for brands, if they do come to you and then it doesn't work out for whatever reason in the beginning, your website, whatever.
I think this is actually a great case study. Okay. Like Lemonade was a brand we first met in 2022. I think my first conversation with that owner founder was when he first started out. And again, it's, you know, so product, price, package, they were there. People, we really liked him. He didn't have a full team yet. He was developing himself. He was starting in a couple markets in the Northeast. And, you know, it was one of those, like, really a fan of what you're doing, keep in touch. Yeah. Keep going at it. Because, like, one of the major things I say, another P, is place. Know your place. For small brands especially, what we find when a brand wants to just be everywhere, they're nowhere, because then they just fall in this spread wide, not deep situation, and it's a really expensive way to go to market. So I really like what Lemonade did. They started out in the Northeast. They kind of grabbed them, you know, they grabbed the understandings and the success stories from that. And the conversation was always about expanding east, which is another great way of kind of building out a brand, because the trends tend to start in the Northeast and then things can fall down south. So he had been asking or talking and discussing Florida as a new market. And Florida is completely different than the Northeast, if anybody's familiar. It's very chain heavy. It's like 5 states in one. We live in Florida. Yep. And I was just like, when ready, get a little bit of a base, get an understanding of the state, where you want to focus efforts, attention, people. Are you ready to hire people in the market? It's a very expensive state to operate in. And we're not here to be, again, we can't be everything for everybody. We cannot be the face of your brand. Unfortunately, we have a capacity limit. We want to drive things that make sense, that add value, that are different. And he stayed passionate. He had a purpose. And he got himself a lot of wins and success stories that my team then finally was like, you know, we can do something with this. There's something there. We really like the category, like the low alc, you know, spritz category is really rising. We don't have anything like it in our book currently. We think it is a high tide rises all ship approach where it adds to the bag. Yeah. It's not just like something else in that bag that day. It is going to help with the brand pitches. So long story short, from 2022 until I think we just launched it about a month or so ago. So we're really excited. And that's, like I said, that's just an example, but we date a lot. We make sure that it's right, because the other part of this is, as being one of the larger distributors, is we're in it for the long haul. So we're not here to, we make agreements pretty long term.
Yeah.
And they're not, easy. Okay, thank you, Breakthru, for building my brand. I'm going to move on now. Like, we really want to make sure that when an agreement is signed, we're in this together.
Yeah.
We don't make money on brands for the first 1-3 years. We're here for 5+ years. That's my team's job. Mm-hmm. That's my job. That's Drew's job. That's my, we are, what's going to work. Because you mentioned the industry, while I agree with you, I don't think it's as, detrimental as everybody is saying. I just think people are looking for different things. I think the next generation just needs to find what it is that they're going to drink.
Right.
Our parents didn't have ready to drink cocktails back then, or prepared cocktails. They didn't have high noons. They didn't have Surfsides. Like, this is a different generation.
Yeah.
And there's other things that they can drink, THC beverages, hemp beverages. And we just have to be mindful of what that next generation wants to drink. Great example of like spritzes. Like, the spritz category and trends are on the rise. So we think it's a good opportunity to kind of be in those
for
places.
Sure. I think so too. And like you said, there's going to be different things. I'm sure you've seen a million samples come your way that you were like, I didn't think I'd ever see the day that I saw, if you don't want to name names, but like maybe categories that you see emerging, or even if it's not in the portfolio that you've seen a lot of samples come by.
We're seeing a lot. We're still seeing a lot of prepared cocktails. We're still seeing a lot of ready to drinks. So the seltzers, the hard seltzers, different flavors. Well, I mean, if you get back into the regular, the general categories, tequila's on the rise. Agave spirits are really interesting. There's a lot of interesting things coming out of that. I think, being more, the new generations or the next generations are more health conscious. I think there's a lot out there for them to read now. Mm-hmm. And I think they're mindful of where their beverages are coming from.
Okay.
They're also looking for different, right? So the generation older than us and older than us and older than us, those brands might be having a hard time.
Okay.
And that we understand that, but that's why it's important for what we do, is to try and find what brand or brands might replace some of that business. Yeah. Not that business is going to go away. I think those brands will still be around for years and years to come. But the new generation is less brand specific, and they're willing to try different things. We just need, as the distributor, to be better or just more aware of the buyers and how to show them that the variety is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And that's our job, is trying to showcase like there are different emerging innovative things to put on the shelf and get pull through. Problem is, pull through is not on us, it's on the brand. So the brand then has to come in and say, I need to create my awareness, I need to have the people, I need to have the passion, I need to be ready to work and get that product off the shelf, because otherwise it's
aged inventory.
It's all the other things, all the other problems with a P.
Yeah.
That we don't want to come into, but it takes time. And we're here, like I said, we're here to make this last, or try to make it last. It does nobody any good to bring in something of hopes and dreams and then just let it fizzle. We do expect a lot from the brands. And I don't think people understand that. The distributor is not your marketing company. We're not your bank. We are here to help and work with you. Mm-hmm. And if you think getting a distributor means that your work is over, that's the complete opposite. Your work is just beginning. So get ready. Put on your big boy, big girl pants and get ready to work, because we will replicate your efforts really well. We won't create. We won't, we have jobs and we get your product on the shelf. Now, how do you get it off and get that pull through?
Right. Definitely.
So, but yeah, the next generation's very interesting.
They are interesting.
Really interesting.
I'm trying to expand that, I guess, category myself. I'm dabbling in things that are non-alc. We had talked about this before. There's definitely prepared cocktails that are non-alc, but I'm also tapping into like lemonade, and I'm tapping into juice because the samples are coming to me, and some of them do want to be in liquor stores like Total Wine. And I don't see why they can't have a space if they anchor to a cool brand, a cool vodka, Now I've got the throat thing. Cool vodka or a tequila or whatever, because, why not? We're using it when we're doing the samplings ourselves anyway to move
Sure.
it out, doing liquid to lips. It's not something I ever thought I was going to do. I've kind of been doing it because people asked me. A, B, I wanted a challenge. C, I do see things trending down, lower ABV for me, but also I'm a mom. And my kids see these samples come, in and out of my house all the time. And you've got that balance of, you cannot drink until you're of age. And even then in moderation. But yes, mommy's got all these bottles coming in and out of her office. And it was really fun to have some of these brands that have zero alcohol, to have my kids get excited about them and see and try and sample and be a part of it, especially on Take Your Kids to Work Day. That was cool. What's your funny story?
Oh my gosh. So my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, thinks that I get paid in bottles. She's like, "Oh, mommy, your job is bottles. You must get paid in bottles."
Hilarious.
And she'll take my cans and she'll display them out and she'll make a bottle shop. I don't let her grab the glass, but she plays with the cans.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, you mentioned the we are a total beverage solution, right? But at the end of the day, being mindful that the non-alc space doesn't really come with the same regulations as alcohol. So while we are the operators in most of those big retailers and chains and the DSD operator for them, non-alcs don't necessarily need to come through the second tier.
Right.
So we are very much interested in that functional beverage space, non-alc spirits, the mocktails, but in some instances we do not work with the same buyers.
Right.
Because I'm speaking of retailers, they tend to be either a food buyer or a water soda buyer.
Yep.
Even though they sometimes even operate in the same aisle, they're sticking to what they know and they're dealing with those buyers. And in some instances, we're able to facilitate. In some instances, we're not. Like I said, I'm always interested in that category. I think it's going. Jesus.
Fuzzy.
Hello. I think it's going to get really interesting, and I think it's only going to get bigger and bigger. But I don't think it's going to replace anything. I think it's in addition to.
Yeah,
so, which is why it's great for those that can't drink or can't drink at the moment or are just trying to drink a little less that day. It's not going to replace something,
right?
And we partner with a few non-alc portfolios for this reason. We think that there needs to be a broader scope and a broader area of opportunity
for sure
for those type of people that want to drink less or not so much of that certain type. We're seeing it more relevant in the on-premise. I think we're starting to see a lot more menus created, like with the mocktails. But it is a very big call out to the industry in saying, like, this is a category to watch.
For sure.
It's growing. It's growing triple digits, pick the brand. And I don't see it going away for a long time. So we're hopefully going to be able to expand there a little bit. But yeah, it's again, all back to trying to figure out what that next generation is going to. I mean, THC, but like when you talk about hemp for a second, that's a really interesting category. We are not participating in that right now. We're always looking into it and seeing kind of how that would operate within, an alcohol beverage distributor. But we're mindful of it for sure. And we just want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And before we get into that, but that is something that we're watching. But there's a lot of samples and stuff that I get that are.
You're like, wow. This
wow.
Is different. I didn't think
but
of this.
I will always go back to tequila, whiskey. But I mean, those will be here. They're still interesting. And as long as the branding and the marketing can kind of come together, like we'll continue to see some really cool brands in the.
So you're a repo girl like me. I know that. But let's play a little game here. Let's do a little rapid fire question.
Okay.
So how about this? Vodka or tequila? I'm guessing your answer.
Okay. Oh,
vodka or tequila?
Drink tequila.
Okay. If you're going to do a mixer, club soda or ginger ale?
Neither.
Okay. Lime or lemon?
Lime.
Paloma or margarita?
Paloma.
Whiskey or bourbon?
Whiskey is bourbon.
Yeah. Trick question.
Whiskey's bourbon. Bourbon.
Okay. How about champagne or Prosecco?
Champagne.
Champagne? You like champagne? What's your favorite
Yeah.
kind of champagne?
Oh, I can't say a
Do you like
brand.
pink or do you like regular? Or do you like, are you a brute girl? Or are you a,
Oh, I mean, I'll take a rosé.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
all right, perfect. Red or white? Wine.
Oh, it depends what I'm eating.
Ugh, you're no fun.
I
It's supposed to be
know.
rapid fire. It's supposed to just shoot
white.
it off. Okay, perfect. All right.
Drink more of it.
Right. Favorite hangover, either greasy food or I guess Gatorade?
Oh, greasy food.
Okay, perfect.
Fried food, Wendy's in particular.
Wendy's?
Yeah.
What's your order?
Oh my gosh, they have a biggie bag now. And I don't eat Wendy's. This was a college thing, but Wendy's had like a 5 for 5. It was a junior bacon cheeseburger, chicken nuggets, drink, fries, and cheese sauce.
Okay.
Whoa.
Sounds amazing.
That's the hangover cure. I haven't had to
We
have it in
can't,
a
yeah,
really
we
long
can't
time.
eat that anymore. We've
No,
talked about this. We
there's
both turned 40. Now we have no baby weight excuses. We have to watch what we eat. You know, we got to drink less, I guess, and eat
She's
less.
lying, everybody. She's making things up.
Yes, that's what I like to
Yes.
do here.
We are 40.
Oh, yeah, we're 40.
We're
It's
40.
so crazy. I used to think
Happy
that
for
was an
that.
old age, but it's really not. I feel like we're just getting started. My dad calls it the harvest years, whatever
Oh.
that means. I guess this is our best time of year to look forward to. It's, you know,
I've
when
heard-
we're coming into our own.
I've heard the 40th decade, I guess, right? Fourth decade is the best because we do start to get into ourselves and for ourselves, like less baby, you know, mommy, which is not true. My 6-year-old is still very mommy.
Yeah.
But a little bit more about us, and they become a little more independent. I don't know. I tell me when it starts to feel that way. But yes, that's what I've been told.
Stay
40's great.
tuned.
40's great.
We shall see.
We shall see. We're still new in it.
That's
per se.
true. We're babies. We're young 40s, only a couple months in. What are you looking forward to in the next 2 years? You know, you said you have young kids. Your daughter is going to be my youngest son's age in 2 years. I feel like what you said, it's kind of more of an independence for me, but also, like I said, he's noticing more about what I do, and I'm kind of leaning into that a little bit, and I'm not feeling conflicted because I grew up in the industry, and I feel like my parents were very responsible in teaching me what was, you know, when the time was right to have alcohol and drink it in moderation and all that sort of thing. But in 2 years, I'm going to have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Jeez, yeah.
So I've got all these other problems to look forward to with middle school and high school and all that stuff. And being a mom, being a female in a very male-dominated industry, you know, there's so many things that are ever evolving. And I find that right now is our time. I feel like being a woman in this business and a lot of different industries is just, it's our time to be here and be proud and be bosses, which is cool. But your daughter's going to be 8. And I feel like boys and girls are always different.
Yeah.
And what do you think it's going to look like landscape-wise? What are you looking forward to in that balance, work-life balance with a daughter who's then going to be in 3rd grade? I mean, things change, man. I'm telling you.
So we have our oldest is a boy, and he's 9 now. So yeah, they're 9 and 6, and she is a powerhouse. She'll be someone's boss. Well, might have to tone her down a little bit, but she's definitely going. She's asks questions. She, you know, like I said, she thinks I get paid in bottles. She doesn't really understand what alcohol is, and it's all, you know, tongue in cheek. But I think she'll continue to watch my work ethic, and that's the most important thing to me. And I work with a ton of great female mentors and people that I look up to still, right? It's still a very male-dominated industry, but we do have a lot of great women working at Breakthru. And I'm so proud to know and watch and get in the meetings with and hear them speak. And it's about finding your place in the room and why you should be there and creating it. And that's been always something that has been given to me in advice, is like just making sure that you're adding value to whatever conversation you're having.
Right.
Just don't stand there and do nothing, but don't also overtake anything if you're not willing to add whatever value it is to the conversation. So, okay, great. So my daughter, I believe, will start to learn a little bit more of that. She demands attention. She wants to be the center of the room. And as she gets older, I hope that she's able to bring more value to what it is that she's screaming at. But she's showing at least the interest of working and jobs. And my son asks the questions of alcohol, and he's like, "What's alcohol? Why do you drink it? Why don't we drink it?"
Right.
And it's an interest, it's like it's for adults. It's adult only, and I talk about adult alternatives. And as long as you're honest, like that's my biggest thing with kids is like, yeah, we all lie about something. Trust me, I lie to them every day about something to get them to do something. But if you can be the most open with them about the conversation, not to shut them out and include them, I think it's a much easier conversation. And I think that the both of them, at least seeing, my work ethic, my husband's work ethic, and the way that we're, managing things, I travel for work here and there. So when I'm gone, how that, is situated, and they seem, pretty good with it, even as they got older. So I think it's just, like I said, being open with them, honest, finding if there's interest and what the interest is, and explaining it's a job and what a job is and why we do, what it's doing. And it's a fun one at that. Like, let's be honest, we're not selling toilet seats, door to door, like people.
Absolutely.
We're
Could you
selling.
imagine? What a horrible job. Sorry, whoever's doing that out there.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's doing it door to door anymore. That's why I added that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we are selling something that is fun and exciting. And there's, I always say there's no such thing as an alcohol emergency. Right. So we all have to be, I'm very mindful of that now. And there's ways to operate and a work-life balance, especially being a mom and a full-time mom and a full-time worker, and how you are able to handle both.
Right. And do you get to work from home at all? Because I work from home. So that's also very helpful, being a mom and being able to attend events, games, etc.
Yes, I work from home if I'm not traveling. We do have an office in South Florida that I go to on occasion to pick up samples and make sure everybody is there still and says hi to me and knows who I am. But yeah, because I work for corporate and I work for the country, I do work from home. All of my calls are basically taken on Zoom, like you said, or Teams. And I deal with each trade VP or leader in each state. Do I think working remotely is beneficial? Like, I really like it because, again, that's that work-life balance thing. I can take my kids to school. Luckily, again, my husband is very flexible as well, and he's able to handle many, many things for us. So that's another reason why I can do the things I do. But it's definitely understanding and being mindful. Like, is this email that I received at 9:45 p.m. going to be fixed right now? And it doesn't matter. We're not curing cancer. No. We're not saving babies' lives. There's no such thing as an alcohol emergency. We're passionate about what we do by all means, and we will make sure that we're doing the job and doing it well. But there is a time and a place and an ethic that I think most people are doing much better at nowadays. Yeah. Which is nice to see.
I agree. I feel like we've evolved, and like we said, it's always changing. And I feel like we're very blessed that we get to have that work-life balance with young kids, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity.
Well, we're both 17 years into it.
Been doing it a long time. It just feels like a snap. Like, for me, I just feel like I
still feel 25. I don't know about you.
I do too, except I don't like to go out. I don't like to do any of that anymore. I know you did it for your birthday. I was like, ooh, a lounge situation. I can't do that anymore. I hate it. I want to go home early. I'm a grandma. Binging. I like to binge. I like to stay home. I like to go to my son's football games and, do whatever. My older son is not into team sports. So whatever he wants to do, whatever he's interested in, spend some time with him, obviously my husband. But you do know my one drug of choice. I do love to go out and stay out late for concerts.
Oh, love concerts. Oh, well, that's us too. Yeah. Concerts are our jam. Like, that will be our date nights. Like, that's where we're probably, like, we don't just go to dinner and get babysitters for that. We go to concerts. We're just like that.
That's a void where I feel like that non-alcoholic space could really live in. Because, I mean, let's be honest, most people are either Ubering, hopefully, and And there are some that are being bad and drinking there and then leaving, which sucks. And it always makes me nervous. So even though I love concerts and I feel like it's a second job, I want to get paid one day if anybody's out there to pay me to go to concerts. But I leave early all the time because I'm afraid of drunk drivers. Even though it could be my favorite artist, best song, I've never heard it. They save the single on the radio. I always leave early because I am so anxious about, and I always drive. And I don't drink when I'm there. So I'll be drinking a water or whatever. And that's what I feel like is a void there. However, I think where we both were at 2 concerts and didn't get to see each other, there was a whole mocktail bar.
I was just because I took pictures of it. I was really excited to see it.
Yeah.
To your point, I think the adult experience is just ever changing. And it's finding what is being, people are going to drink at concerts. That's not going to change. And I think it's just a matter of the time of day, what day of the week it is, who's playing, and it affects. But as long as you have the options for everybody, designated drivers are a big thing now. Ubers are a big thing now, which is great. This industry needs all of that.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that we can provide as well to those consumers, lovely. I think I'm all for it. I love seeing those tents. I love seeing, there was a THC beverage tent, the mocktail tent.
I missed the THC beverage.
All the water brands that are now branding, effectively at those concerts, I think are doing a great job. Yeah, I love a good concert.
Amazing.
Love a good concert.
Well, I had never given you questions ahead of time, but I did with this one, and I had you think about who would you want to have a drink with, dead or alive, and what would the cocktail be?
Well, I would have a drink with one person. I would have a drink with my recently deceased grandmother. She passed away about a year ago.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. She was a 92-year-old powerhouse that you just loved her to death. We called her Grandma Chicky. She called us all her little chickadees. So she's Grandma Chicky. And she never really was able to drink, but I would probably have the drink with her. I'd love for it to be surrounded by my family, with everybody, because she was the life of the party. Always the one on the dance floor until the DJ came off. Just a great lady. So I would, if she could, I would have a Reposado espresso martini with my grandmother, grandpa in the background, still dancing as well, with surrounded by my family, my parents, all of that. So that would be my.
I love that.
Yeah, yes, and it has to be a Reposado espresso martini.
I'm with you. Well, let's cheers to Grandma Chicky.
Yeah, drink.
Even though we have water or coffee, we will cheers. All right, I'll switch to the coffee.
No.
Hold on.
I know, I'm not as caffeinated as I should be.
Thank you for being my first guest on season 2, Jen. I appreciate you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for Sippin' and Selling with Joey Chanel. Good?